Call with the DevRel team over at Hashgraph. So I'm going to be your host today. Got some really great guests on. We've got Brady, CEO of Bonzo Finance, May, CEO of HashPack. May, could you give us an introduction?
Yeah, I am one of the co-founders of HashPack. We're the biggest wallet on Hedera. We're really happy to be here and chatting about all the cool things that are happening in Hedera right now.
Yeah, my name is Brady Gentile. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bonzo Finance Labs, which is an open source non-custodial lending protocol based on Aave for the Hedera network. And then prior to Bonzo Finance Labs was that
now, May, HashPack's been making a lot of momentum in the ecosystem. Could you give us some updates? And
Yeah,
well,
HashPack, I think the thing that is really cool about the community is just how much energy there is right now. And that's really where I think the excitement is. Like, for example, Dead Pixels is on Hedera that's been around for years. And last week they hit top 5 volume in NFTs across all of crypto. Like, so they were like, I think number 4 was Bored Ape Yacht Club. So they've been doing really good, and they've been putting together this really innovative thing called Forever Mints that is really exciting. I think is driving a lot of the hype. So they're doing great, getting a lot of like attention and stuff. Like Smack 'em is a game on a mobile that has launched, and they have a HashPack level that they have making stuff. Like there's some cool things going on. Yeah, HashPack community is just really solid, and we're really happy to see some excitement right now in the fall as we come into the end of summer.
Yeah, awesome. Glad to hear it. Now, I've seen some insights into that.
Yeah, so Blockade is a anti-scam partner that we have. They integrated with their platform, and they provide protection for scam tokens and NFTs. And also they help to warn the user when they're on a potentially malicious site. So it's basically just helping to protect the user, and we are still in the process of integrating with all of their features, but help to protect the user from getting scammed from like malicious memos or tokens that look legitimate, and then you go to the website that's in the link or whatever, and people who don't know better will just get scammed out of their stuff. So we always are trying to add it happening, but we've been having a lot of success with keeping those scammers like kind of from reaching out to people, and that's always a huge amount of work for us to do. So partnership with Blockade is really good.
Brady, have you got any large updates for us over at Bonzo?
Yeah, I can quickly dive into some of the recent changes around maturation of some of the updates to the protocol's risk parameters and interest rates, and the config ecosystem allow for reasonable amounts of risk for users to sort of assess and take on themselves, but at the same time ensuring additional protection for the ecosystem assets and the protocol. And this process change that's taken place is onboarding of independent risk steward that in a very similar vein as sort of like Aave or Compound or some of these other protocols across the Web3 space. They'll have an independent steward such as like Chaos Labs or Gauntlet come in and create proposals for updating of parameters within the protocol, or the interest rate models within the protocol, or maybe the, based on the revenue stream for that protocol, sort of how much revenue the protocol is making. And they'll create those proposals as a third party, author it, provide some justification, and then community users vote on that through DAO proposals. Today, it's through a change memo process that mirrors the DAO proposal format. And all of the change proposals are available in the risk parameters section of the framework within the docs, and then also in the notification center and in Discord. And that's kind of been the most recent sort of maturation. It's really laying a foundation for further decentralization of the protocol, instantiation of the DAO, greater transparency for the community. So we're really excited about that. And then filling the gap of lending and borrowing within the DeFi ecosystem. This next product is a vaults product that allows for users to be able to supply liquidity into a vault, and that vault automating the management of liquidity and routing it to other DeFi protocols within the Hedera ecosystem. And so one of those, one of the vaults, there can be many different strategies that the vault takes on in terms of automation, but one of them that we see as being really exciting is being able to route liquidity to Saucer Swap V2 pools, which are based on Uniswap V3, that has concentrated liquidity. It can be kind of, it can be pretty complex for users to manage liquidity supplied to a Saucer Swap V2 pool. They have to set these ranges, the ticker or the price within the pool changes. Their concentration is within like an active range in order to actually earn yield. And so what a vault does is they supply liquidity into the vault, and the vault automatically manages it in the Saucer Swap V2 pool. And this helps maximize the yield that can be earned by the user. It also automates the management of the user, so they don't have to be constantly adjusting the ranges or swapping and resupplying. And then it also supports the ecosystem in general. When you have liquidity in concentrated liquidity pools that are being actively managed, efficiencies, so like less slippage by traders that are actually trading against some of these pools. And overall, it just helps the ecosystem.
And how about the risk with the vaults? Is there an increased level of risk, or is it safer for the user because they're not, doing something they don't fully understand?
Yeah, so vaults are going to be audited in order for them to be displayed in the protocol. Actually, anybody can build and deploy a vault. Developers are incentivized to do so because they receive a vault strategist fee, which is a small percentage of yield that the vault earns when it's active. But anybody can deploy a vault. They'll have to have it be audited prior to it being able to be listed as part of sort of the rule set. It always has smart contract risk. I think anything and everything in DeFi, if there's smart contracts involved, even with audits, there's always going to be risk there. And, it's always recommended that folks don't, invest or use more than they're willing to lose. But there is going to be safety scores for each. So certain strategies, as you can imagine, might be more risky than other strategies. There may be a greater chance of, still experiencing impermanent loss. There is the chance of the APY maybe for a vault, or the yield for a vault going negative, depending on how it's how it's structured. So if it's, for example, utilizing a borrowing mechanic from the lending protocol and then supplying to another protocol, maybe the borrowing APY for whatever reason starts to become pretty crazy. So there's certain things that maybe would be viewed as more risky, and there will be sort of some risk scores that are displayed per vault. But
You're going to make it easy for people though, right? To like make a decision.
Easy. That is the game, because I think there's so much liquidity that's dormant, that's just like hanging out in wallets, that's not being sort of actively used in DeFi, and a lot of people maybe are just kind of intimidated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that vaults are a really cool thing. I really am looking forward to them coming on. I really hope we can do a collaboration between Bonzo and HashPack as well. And you know, I mean, not promising anything, but I would love to see them in HashPack one day, where you can just like easily access them, easily see your gains or your progress and keep track of things. Basically, just make things easier for people on Hedera, and I think that that's really going to be the theme here, where like people come to Hedera and it just works really well. People just like, they want to buy something on the marketplace or something, and it doesn't cost them $100 in gas fees, or it doesn't take a long time for it to go through, or the network is, it's always up. So like, yeah, I think that the Hedera experience is really great. And as we build out these cool features and get everything integrated, I think it'll be really, really fun.
Well, and you guys
Yeah,
have done such an awesome job too, as I mean, it's their first, oftentimes their first introduction to Hedera is through setting up the wallet. I do feel like that experience is one of the absolute best. The cleanliness of the wallet interface, all the features, the organization of it. A lot of ecosystems are just not as lucky to have that experience if they have like a native ecosystem wallet. So it's, kudos to you guys for making that first introduction also very nice. Yeah.
On that note, May, with HashPack, is there any updates coming, maybe with AI or something like that you could tell us about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We are experimenting a lot with AI, and Pluto on our team has been doing a lot of things. He's been teasing it on his Twitter. And I think it's Pluto HashPack on X. And basically, like, if you want to do ChatGPT, natural language kind of chatting stuff within HashPack, I think one day we might have that. And then you can say, I want to swap this many HBAR for PAC token or for Bonzo token, and it will create the transaction inside of the wallet, and you can approve it, and basically be the human in the loop of stuff. But like being able to chat to something and finding out information of like what's the top NFT collection on Hedera right now, or things like that. I think that that's going to be real fun. So AI, definitely something we're experimenting on. Also, we have also at HashGraph Online who are building out Hedera stuff. And I think you're actually talking about one of the big projects that they're going to be doing coming up here. So I won't tease that. But yeah, that's one thing. We've also been doing with our PAC token, we've been doing buybacks. We've recently announced them and did our first one last week. And we're creating that circulatory token ecosystem for the token. And I think that that's really exciting here. And the community's been really supportive of it and giving us great feedback. We also have a voting site that we built for community based voting, and it's open source. We launched it this summer, and like that, people have been using it to set up like fun votes, but also HashGraph Online has been using it or thinking about using it for their DAO. And we've been implementing it, so it's going to be real fun too. So
that will be fully integrated with HashPack as well, so you can log in with your HashPack wallet and use that to vote.
That's right, and you can set it up so that they use a specific token or NFT for like NFT collections. If you're holding it, we have a comic artist on Hedera that is launching a comic NFT collection, and they've set up votes where you can vote on what's going to happen next in the comic. And people who hold that comic are the ones who, and it's kind of like a way to collaborate with your own community. So yeah, just a few of the things that we've been building out and having fun with.
That sounds really good. And is this a voting system as well?
It's an open source like voting thing that is completely on chain. So if they wanted to add it in, then what that lets other people do is aggregate their votes, and like Combat were to open a vote. If they use that standard, then somebody could show that vote on their site and then have people vote on their site for that. Like, so you could there's ways to like use this easier for communities to participate or for developers to aggregate stuff. It's cool. So yeah. But yeah, if you want to check that out, I think the website is hashgraph.online. I have to look it up. Oh, I cannot find it. Hashgraphonline.com, and basically they have a standard for that, which I wrote for the voting. So if you're a developer, you want to check out the voting and how it works, you can definitely do that. Or you can go to hashgraph.vote, and it's pretty cool. And we have a lot of things that we want to do on it. And it's basically like, as the community uses it, they come and they give us feedback and they say, hey, we want this, or we want like a specific page for creators so that all of our votes are on one page. And we take that feedback and we put it into the site. So yeah, it's gonna be led by the community, which is pretty fun. Also, yeah.
And in terms of the buybacks, could you give me a little bit more information on that?
Yeah, basically it's like structured around ecosystem activities. So the more we do our buybacks, it's kind of like there's like a mechanism that we've put in place so that we keep our, because basically the way that Pack goes out, a lot of it is through the Pack Back rewards, and it's kind of like cash back on your debit card or something like that. And so basically we have to have a way to get that Pack back into our treasury so that it can continue circulating forever. It's the ID network, the more we buy back. And we've done like, we've okayed it with our lawyers. We're making sure that we're doing everything by the books. We're a very conservative team in that sense. Like, we want to make sure that we're doing everything above board. So yeah, that's a fun one. And we've got a lot of other things with regards to Pack Token. Share them, but we post on Twitter, like maybe some teasers or something like that. But basically the whole idea is to use Pack as a loyalty reward token, as a way to engage with our users and engage with Hedera. And that's really.
No, that makes sense. It sounds great and very very exciting times as well. And Brady, is Bonzo looking at potentially into?
Yeah, we are. We're in the development and exploration phase with regards to instantiation of the Bonzo Finance DAO. Part of development of the protocol is similar to Hedera, maybe starting obviously where things are a bit more centralized at first in terms of some of the decision making, especially when it comes to an risk steward that is online now, acting as sort of an analyst and then a publisher of proposals related to changes to the protocol's parameters. And then in addition, instantiation of the DAO, whereby publication of some of those parameter changes, but also the ability to have community members vote on steering the direction of the protocol will be possible with that DAO going live by the end of this year or very early next year is where we're targeting. So very similar to sort of maybe Saucer Swap's DAO is a good sort of mirror of that. Yeah, looking forward to just being in voting as a government token. So yeah, we're really looking forward to that.
So is that how the votes would be weighted with Bonzo?
When you're looking at other lending protocols or Camino on Solana, sort of operating as a fully fledged DAO, token holders are able to use their proposal for changes to the protocol, and people being able.
I've got a question about Hedera as a whole. Where do you want to see the ecosystem? Where is it heading towards, and where do you want to see it?
You want to go, Brady? Or?
Yeah, sorry, say that one more time.
Yeah, so it's just about where do you want to see Hedera, say, in 5 years, 10 years time?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think there's so many things that are happening right now that are culminating behind the scenes, and especially just all the work that Hedera Foundation is doing with regards to onboarding applications and tokenization platforms. Most recently we saw Swarm be able to be Apple, Tesla, brought into the ecosystem. That's going to bring a whole bunch of utility to the ecosystem, and probably to a lot of existing protocols and applications. So, if the ability to have those assets be traded or maybe lent, or for sure available in HashPack.
That's it. That was my next question. Is that something that you'd like to see on Bonzo?
Of course. I think anytime you can take sort of new assets that are available, especially RWAs, and make that accessible within some of the existing infrastructure. A lot of questions that need to be asked with regards to what is the realistic implementation of that. Maybe does it require a certain level of KYC crypto markets? If not, is there a way to do it without that? There's tons of outstanding questions, I think, that need to be answered by that's possible. And then, just overall, like, integrations, like you said, 5 or 10 years out, I would expect to see and hope to see some innovations that have taken place that are built on native Web3 business models, that are sort of homegrown on Hedera and also other networks, start to eat into the lunch of some of the larger enterprise organizations, banks, institutions, where over time, when you look at like disruption with emerging technology, oftentimes it's supplanting rather than augmenting with some of these new technologies. And when you look at the value that can be passed on to the end user for what this technology is capable of, businesses that are built from the ground up using these types of business models are ending up able to pass that value, more of that value, on to end users. And so, it may be sort of looking at like a refactoring of how some of these institutions are operating, maybe sort of cannibalization and trying to rebuild themselves under some of these similar business models. We'll for sure have like a Netflix that comes out of this era, like an Amazon, the way that we did in the 2000s. And so it'll be interesting to watch that evolution. I just think it's going to take a longer time, because this industry that this emerging technology is going up against is just incredibly well capitalized, and also so deeply entrenched in society and government regulation. There's so many things that have to be moved in order for it to actually be, quote unquote, disrupted. So we'll see. It'll be a fun 5 to 10 years for sure.
I do think that there is slow momentum building on that, though, and definitely being in Hedera, you get to hear a lot of institutions and enterprises that are experimenting or looking into crypto technology or Web3 technology and bringing it into their pilot programs and things like that. And I think that Hedera is really showing itself as having that sort of enterprise strength. And we've known this for years, since like anyone who's been in Hedera since 2019 or even earlier knows that Hedera has had that angle, but it's always just been like, well, it's coming and enterprises are slow to adopt and things like that. But I think that there's like real momentum building across the entire crypto industry, not just on Hedera, but Hedera is one of those names that are getting a lot of attention and getting a lot of interest from enterprises just because of how it works, right? All of the benefits, I'm not going to go over them for Hedera, but like it really is showing. And I think that like just the excitement in our DeFi ecosystem is that is growing and like, you know, outpacing some of the older names that used to be above us on like the coin market cap charts. I think we're showing that like Hedera does have something there, and you know, the DeFi ecosystem is now maturing and we're getting like more users, more liquidity, everything like that. Bonzo launching was a huge one, right? That's like our first advanced DeFi protocol that we've had, and then there's more coming. Like Origin launched this year, Orbit is launching pretty soon. HGraph, which is our like data provider kind of company, but those guys have been working real hard, and they are looking at tackling bridging. So there's a lot of things that are coming. There's a lot of players that have been in this space, in the DeFi space, for a long time that are still building, that are still putting out stuff, and I think that we're really close to having a great moment in Hedera, and yeah, it's a good time to be in here. So definitely, if you're new to Hedera or you've got friends who are in crypto that haven't heard of Hedera, like this is the time to like have people look over. You know, I think like with the forever mints of dead pixels that I was talking about, like that's something that was grown here in Hedera, and I've heard on the grapevine that projects are looking at that model and thinking about doing it themselves because it's just so great as an idea. And if you don't know what that is, go check out Dead Pixels too, because it is great. So yeah, that's there's so much to do on the network right now.
Mate, your HashPack is so, you know, intertwined with the community and so close to the community. How have you felt the community has changed? Has it been for the better? What are some great things you've seen for the community?
Oh man, I think the community has gotten more and more positive over the past few years. There were definitely the like drama and dumpster fires and, you know, all the stuff that happens in DeFi, and like scammers coming in, and like, you know, you hear that across the place. But I think Hedera is actually being pretty well insulated from all of that, and just the community right now is really like banded together and working together and like finding ways to collaborate. I think that that's the real fun part about it. And I really hope that everybody who is in Hedera can like help welcome new people to come in or get people excited, because there's a lot to be excited about here. So I think the community is in a really great place now compared to the like deepest part of the bear market that we were in, like I think a year ago. That was dark times, but now we're coming up and the sun is shining. I think it's going to be real fun.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. As I said at the start, I've been in Hedera since about 2021 and seen all the changes, and it's been incredible to see, and now to be part of it as well, it's really great. And in terms of HashPack now going forward as well, in sort of 3 to 5 years or 2 to 3 years, what role do you want HashPack to play in sort of the broader Hedera ecosystem?
Well, I mean, there's the things that we have in our roadmap, and that's just like more collaborations, making it as easy as possible to do everything on Hedera that you want to do. And then like pie in the sky stuff, I'd love to see us take on like more payments kind of stuff, like real world payments, maybe like debit cards, credit cards, maybe like actual like payment POSs in stores, and you use your HashPack to do it. That's like my pie in the sky kind of goal, where you can just like send money the way you would send money through your banking app or something, or you would tap to pay or things like that. I think that we can get there. Like there's definitely momentum in the broader like financial space for stablecoins and for payments, because it's so much cheaper and less like and more fraud resistant, and all of those benefits for crypto that institutions are now starting to experiment with. And I think that there is definitely a space for a wallet to come and make that experience really good for the user as well, and tack on to what other big projects, banks, and things like that are doing. And we'll see. Like, we already see like murmurings of like Apple Pay, Google Pay taking crypto, things like that. So there's definitely work cut out for that. But at the end of the day, it's all about how you can deliver the best user experience and what kind of things you can get people access to. And I think that that's really exciting. So there's a lot to do on the HashPack side. Our list of things that we want to do just keeps growing. And we can't do everything. So I guess the question is like, what is the most important? What's the most impactful? And I think that, you know, everybody who is a HashPack user has been very vocal and very like collaborative with us. Like, we take feedback a lot from the community. So what we build is what the community wants, and I think that that's really where our strength is going to be. So
and it
yeah,
ties in really well with the voting platform as well, because
yeah,
now you can get
exactly,
more user feedback, feed that back into HashPack.
Yeah, exactly, right. That was one of the goals of the voting platform. So we're going to work that out, and basically, yeah, the HashPack that you guys want to see in the future, just let us know, and you know, we'll see if we can build it.
No, that sounds awesome. I'm really excited to see where HashPack's going and see all these updates come to fruition. I do have another question here for Brady. In terms of the Bonzo vaults, could you walk us through what they are and why they're important for the ecosystem?
Yeah. So I think, you know, kind of as mentioned before, there's a lot of liquidity that exists in the ecosystem that is kept in wallets on the sidelines, sometimes kept in centralized exchanges as well. I think I'd probably argue, even though I don't have like a specific figure to back this, that there's more HBAR holders right now than I think there ever has been in the history of Hedera. But a lot of that is probably on centralized exchanges in those accounts, or folks that maybe are just holding it in a self-custody wallet. And I think it's really important to try and view that as through the lens of a distribution model, to bring users on chain off of centralized exchanges. Maybe not all of their funds. It's a good practice to advise people for hot wallets to just have portions of it that they're going to be using within DeFi and some of these tools and ecosystems. But I would love to see sort of activation of some kinds of distribution models that get people into the ecosystem and being able to use some of these tools that are available for folks to participate, increase the overall TVL of the Hedera DeFi ecosystem, increase stablecoin liquidity as well. So all of these things kind of go hand in hand. As more users come on chain, it kind of increases just the overall metrics that would be indicative of a strong and healthy ecosystem. So figuring out what that looks like from a vaults perspective, what I think that could help enable is people, reducing the complexity, as May said earlier, trying keeping things as simple as possible, as easy to use as possible. I could see vaults as one of those things where, in terms of like an interface for DeFi, it acts as a really good, simple interface for DeFi. And vaults as a concept isn't something that's entirely new. Vaults have been around in the Web3 space for a bit now. There's different types of vaults. So the types that we're doing are around sort of automated management of liquidity for DeFi protocols and yield optimization. But there's also like trading vaults. If you look at Hyperliquid, a lot of the vaults that they have are around automated trading strategies that folks can deposit into. It's almost like a robo-advisor, like a Wealthfront in some way. Or investing maybe into like an ETF where it's auto balancing across a number of different equities. And so trying to just make things easier for users, make them less intimidating, make it easy to show users sort of exactly how much yield they've earned relative to what they've supplied. So a lot of things around the data API for vaults that allows for the display of analytics that informs the user of what's the progress actually been like over time? Like, are they actually in profit or sitting at a loss based on the fluctuation of prices for the liquidity that was supplied. There's a whole bunch of mechanics that I think are going to go into this that try and just up level that experience for users. So really excited about that, trying to bring ease of use of these vaults to the ecosystem.
I have a question for you, Brady. When you're doing a vault strategy, let's say that you have a Bonzo vault, for example, and a user goes and deposits their funds in that, are they there like by themselves, or is it like a broader like thing that everybody puts in the same vault and takes part in the same sort of thing? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so it is a single vault, like a single pool. So each vault will have its own strategy. So like using the saucer swap example, one strategy for a single vault may be pointing to a V2 pool for HBAR USDC. And instead of the users going to the V2 HBAR USDC pool on saucer swap directly and setting the ranges and all the maintenance and configuration, they can just, every user can come to the vault and supply into the vault. And so the vault starts to amass liquidity that is being automatically managed for the V2 pool in saucer swap. And then there is one of the questions is like, well, how is it rebalancing? How often does that take place? How is yield actually sort of distributed or harvested? There's a role for vaults called like a harvester role. And similar to in Bonzo Lend, how there are liquidation bots where any developer can set up a liquidation bot and perform liquidations to keep that protocol healthy. For these vaults, there's a harvester role where a developer can come in and automate the harvesting of yield within the vault, and they receive a small percentage of yield for partaking in that activity. And as part of that harvesting process, it is also performing a rebalancing of the liquidity within the pool for maintaining the various ranges. So, they can come in and kind of do that as often as they want. And there's incentives to try and have them do that on a more for sort of regular cadence. But yeah, everybody's supplying into the same vault.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. And in terms of AI, could AI one day help optimize yield strategies or liquidation mechanisms? I think Jake from the DevRel team during a Hashgraph Hustler session built a yield farming AI agent for Bonzo.
He did. Where there's that, and then also Validation Cloud has through their Maverick AI platform, they've ingested Bonzo Finance data as well, and that's been definitely fun to play with. I think that's an amazing starting point for what I would call, what we're calling it like agentic vaults, which I think would be really amazing. That's not something that we've seen widely across Web3 yet. I think there's, a number of prerequisites that are probably required in order to get to a fully sort of agentic vault where an agent is participating in managing, maintaining, moving funds, etc. There's obviously a degree of risk that's involved if you give more and more control over to an agent to sort of act autonomously. But I love the concept of agentic vaults. It's something that we're exploring. I think the first sort of prerequisite to it is like get all of the data across the ecosystem in DeFi into a readable format for agents, have agents be able to sort of access it in real time. And then the question kind of becomes like, what, can you fine tune an agent to be able to automate some of these strategies? And maybe it shifts strategies. So the vault isn't, the vault maybe isn't about pointing to a single pool in saucer swap. Instead, the vault is like, this agent is trying to optimize for this, but it has access to like all of these things, and it's just going to kind of run and do its thing. I would love to see that. It is something that we're exploring, but nothing in the most imminent future in terms of availability for that.
And as more protocols integrate into Bonzo, how do you ensure risk management, decentralization, and sustainability of the liquidity layer?
Yeah, so a good actually good example of something that had happened recently outside of the Hedera ecosystem, but there was a protocol called GMX. It was a perpetuals market, and they had a V1 and a V2, and they were across a few different chains. And on the Arbitrum chain that they were on, their GLP token, which is sort of a representation of a basket of currencies that were supplied for supporting the perpetuals market. There was an exploit that took place for like it was around $44 million. Their treasury covered it. The team acted incredibly well with regards to sort of just the processes that needed to take place for like emergency comms and making sure that folks were made whole, et cetera. But part of it was that people were taking the GLP token, placing it into beefy vaults. And so very similar to sort of what Bonzo vaults are. And so a bunch of liquidity was supplied into the beefy vault. And then, the question became, okay, after this incident that took place, coordination between the protocols so that users who had supplied into the beefy vault were able to also sort of be made whole with regards to the tokens that they had there that ended up being locked in the vault. So the beefy vault, sort of their team prevented withdrawal or supply for a while there. So it's, I think the biggest thing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say is coordination amongst all of the protocols within the Hedera ecosystem is really important. There is the DeFi Alliance that exists today, which is a culmination of all of the DeFi protocols and some wallet providers and others in the ecosystem that are part of that organization that meets up on a biweekly basis, but also has sort of like an emergency comms plan set up. And there is a lot of ongoing discussion that's continuous with regards to the DeFi Alliance. And I think that's only going to become stronger and stronger, especially as more protocols come online. So that coordination being super important, but then also services too, like Blockade recently that came on for HashPack, as we start to bring on more advanced DeFi functionalities, it also is bringing on more advanced mitigation tools that are needed to ensure safety. And so everything kind of seems to all be evolving in conjunction, which is really good. And that doesn't say risk is completely eliminated in no way, but I think it's safe to say that everybody in the ecosystem from the highest levels down are taking risk pretty seriously.
And May, as Brady's mentioned here about Blockade, could you give us some more information about that and how, as an end user, what are they going to see? If they are sent something which might be malicious, what are they going to see from Blockade?
I mean, I think it's just going to be in the background. I don't think that you're actually going to see Blockade working if it works well, because like it's basically trying to just take it out of your feed completely to make it so that you don't get those scam tokens, you don't get those scam NFTs. I don't think we've done it yet, but if you visit a website that has been flagged as malicious, there should be a pop-up that says this is a potentially malicious page, it's a fake page or something, and so maybe don't go to this site. So informational in that case, but yeah, hopefully it's just going to be invisible. And then like that's a lot of the things that goes into the wallet is like it just feels better, it just works, and you don't see the scam tokens that show up. And if you do, so there are ones that get past our filters, and then our users come in and say, hey, we got this token, it looks like a scam, and then we find out how they're getting around our filters, and then we update it, and now those scams no longer work. And it's just like years and years of like cat and mouse with scammers. It's a game, I guess. But as we bring in partners like Blockade and as we improve our systems, like it's just going to get better and better for the user, I think. Obviously, there's still like, because you have such control over your assets, right? The whole not your keys, not your crypto thing. You could still click on a link, and if you're not careful, get phished or something like that. So like you do have to be careful. But maybe in the future, as we improve and get more mature ways of helping out users and mitigating risks, then maybe even that will become better, right? But it's always going to be a moving target, and we're just going to be doing a lot of work on that end. And you know what? Ideally, nobody notices it, and you can just do what you want to do in crypto and have fun, and make some money, and make it easy, right? So yeah, I think that like when it comes to the community that we have here, and especially to the projects in the ecosystem, we've been around for a while, most of us, and we work really well together. And I think that that's something that is really special about Hedera. Like, we're a very collaborative group. So that's I think one of the keys to our success as well as an ecosystem and going into the future. Yeah.
And so if a user sees something that they need to report to yourselves, would they do that through the HashPack app? Would they do it through Discord server? How would they go about that?
There's many ways to contact us. You can go to our Discord server. If you are a Discord person, the link is on our website. And also you can just go to the support tab on our website, and there's a chat bot, and that goes directly to our support specialists, customer specialists. So yeah, just like if you see something that is weird, especially if you don't like, guys, if you see somebody saying you just won a $10,000 reward and you just need to connect to this site, please don't go there. It's usually not a thing. And the best way is to reach out to the community and ask and say, hey guys, I got this thing that says that I'm going to get a $1 million inheritance from a prince in Dubai. Like, is this legit? And people will say, well, no, I don't think it is. And then you can save yourself a lot of heartache and confusion. So yeah, take advantage of our community, post to us on X or whatever, but just, act with a little bit of what's it called? Moderation. If something sounds too good to be true, probably is. But yeah, I think that like most of the people who have been in crypto for a while understand this, and it's really the new people that come into crypto who are not used to the space, and then they just start clicking on links because they're not used to those kind of things, right? Like, everybody understands you don't click on links in email. And I think that is just going to become a lot more common sense. You don't click on things in your wallet because, we are in a decentralized world. It's not like we monitor everything that comes into your wallet, although we try to mitigate risks. But, common sense definitely has to adapt to this new and exciting world of ours. But I think we'll get there. And it's going to be fun regardless. So.
Yeah. No, it definitely is a game of whack-a-mole, and as May says, just be careful, double check everything, and if you're not sure, ask in the Discord, ask in the HashPack Discord, ask in the Hedera Discord, and someone will sanity check it for you as well. And May, what are some stories from the Hedera ecosystem make you feel really proud of where things are heading?
Proud, huh?
Yes.
I mean, I think that I've been speaking about all the things that we've been doing or that the community has been doing. And I think that there's just so many stories of teams that have stuck through and built something cool or put out a cool NFT and like done their best to support it. Gib token or the Gib meme thing has been really fun, and they put out a Gib chat, which is like an AI bot that basically just like tells you about Hedera, and he just came out like that's just his own private project, and that it's been like getting a lot of momentum on Hedera, and that's been really fun. There's all the comic book creators on Hedera that are experimenting with NFTs and comics. There's the guys from Hashnal Grims. If you don't know him, check him out too, because he's been doing some cool things. I think he has a dashboard that he's making that is looking really slick, and it's just one guy that is building out stuff. We've got a spicy sauce, like hot sauce thing that you can buy with Pack token or other tokens, and it's like a just guys that are making hot sauce, and they've integrated Hedera into it. So. Yeah, I think that there's just so many things that are happening, and if you just come into the Discords and like chat with people, I think you'll see like all the fun things that are going on in Hedera.
That hot sauce is really good, by the way. Rooster Cartel is
yes, exactly.
I've ordered this multiple times.
We've got some questions from the comment section here as well, so I'll read those out quickly. So, got a comment here from Red Echo 1 asking they're not familiar with the voting platform. Where do they go to see that? Could you give us a quick overview again, maybe?
It's on hashgraph.vote. That's the website. And basically, you log in with your HashPack, and you can create a poll. You can make it token gated, or you can make it not token gated. You can participate in polls that have it. You can see the results of past polls. And this one just launched, and we launched it as like a minimum voting site, but we're going to keep on improving it. So if you have any things that would make it useful for you, we would love to add that in.
There's lots of questions here from Red Echo 1 that are good. He's also asked, could using AI incorporate additional fees or charges? Would there be options for subscriptions to these services?
Yeah, that's an interesting one that touches on the intersection between Web3 and AI. I think that there's really an opportunity for microtransactions with cryptocurrencies, where you can, instead of paying a huge subscription or buying credits or something, you pay it on a per message basis or something like that. So I could see that happening. We really have to see how the space is going to play out. The Hashgraph Online guys are doing a lot of work on there, trying to build out AI tools for developers. And we've got some stuff in our hopper on the HashPack team for those kind of things. So, maybe we'll come up with something in a bit, but I don't want to speak for my team, who's everybody's actively developing the space, right? And I think that there's a lot of AI interest in Hedera specifically, and a lot of opportunity to use Hedera, the network, for AI provenance and AI payments and things like that. So very exciting place to be. Definitely follow Hedera, follow us to keep up with what's going on in the AI space. Oh, follow Hashgraph Online. Yeah, they're doing a lot of work there too. Yeah.
And there's the Hedera AI Agent Kit SDK as well, which is really cool. I know Jake's been working on that a lot. And we've got a question here from Dennis E as well, asking if there's been any new recent partnerships.
Well, I guess Blockade is one, but partnerships, I think there's so many amazing things happening across the ecosystem. Partnerships with Hedera, you just have to look on their blog, and there's going to be so many things that they're doing with banks, with institutions. Yeah, it's exciting. I don't have any of them on my mind yet, but there's a lot of things happening in Hedera where partnership with NVIDIA, or rather the NVIDIA adjacent thing doing AI stuff. Gotta be careful with those headlines, because they're gonna put the big names up there, but it's but so many cool things happening here. It doesn't take much to just look at the news and just say okay, well, there's some stuff happening.
And where does HashPack give out the announcements first? Is it on X? Is it on Discord?
Yeah, those are probably our main ones. X and Discord. Red Echo asked about a newsletter in the future, and our team is playing with the idea of a newsletter. Newsletters are kind of tricky because who uses email these days? It's all on X and stuff, but that is something that we're looking into as well, to capture the less crypto negative community. But yeah, there's a lot of ways that we want okay, so yeah, X and Discord are the main ways that we reach out to people.
Yeah, thanks for the update. And then Brady, I'm conscious of time. Is there anything else that you want to say before the end of the call?
Just excited for the ecosystem in general. Just lots of development that's taking place. The integrations and partnerships are being announced just on a daily basis, to the point that I almost can't even keep up with all of them and read into all of them. So it is an awesome thing to see. A lot of times it's chicken and egg with regards to the development of these ecosystems, where it's you want to get more developers in, more retail users, people building things, also sort of needing those integrations in place in order to be able to attract those developers, in order to build the protocols that bring the retail users. And so it's sort of like a cyclical loop. And I think we're at least starting with the integration side of it and getting all of the tools and capabilities ready for developers to, when they come in, they're going to have familiarity. They're going to see all the things that they can use to build and get creative with. And then obviously Hedera on its own offers some incredible mechanisms that are very unique, that allow for developers to build things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to on other networks. So like, we talked about Dead Pixels, Ghost Club, and Forever Mints, and there's a number of things that they use that are Hedera specific that allow them to do that. So yeah, just overall excited for the next 6 months to a year on the development front, all the protocols that are going live, integrations, retail users that it's attracting. It should be really great.
And actually, shout out to, if you're interested in the AI space and how it intersects with Hedera, there's J. Cool, who was mentioned, and Ash, who run the show called Hashgraph Hustlers, and they develop on screen and they use AI to build up some cool things. So check them out too if you're interested in the AI side.
Yep. And just to let everyone else know as well, next Thursday on the 28th, we got our monthly technical community call as well. So make sure to tune into that. And then next Tuesday, which is the 26th, we'll have a co-hosted stream at 1 p.m. EST, where we'll have Brady and Ash Oro from the Hedera Foundation. And some other closing mentions of ecosystem updates. We've got the Hello Future Hackathon going on at the minute. We've had hundreds of hackers register. It's currently in the judging period, with the winners being announced after the judging is complete. So really looking forward to seeing that. We've had some really strong submissions there. And we've got part 2 of the Hello Future Hackathon coming. Ascension is planned to begin in October or November this year. It's a remote hackathon as well, so anyone can tune in and hack on that. Really looking forward to seeing what people build. And we've attended ETH Global New York recently as well this month, the DevRel team, and it was really, really good to see lots of people choosing to build on Hedera out of all the chains that were there. So really, really good to see the growth in that side there. But big shout out to May and Brady, and thanks so much for your time today. It's really lovely to speak to you both, and really great to hear what you're both doing.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun.
Thanks very much. Cheers, everyone. Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.
The need for a more interconnected world is fueling new decentralized technologies and new ways of doing business. Hedera stands at the forefront of distributed ledgers, where every interaction is not only trusted, but fast, efficient, and secure. While traditional blockchains struggle with speed and fees, Hedera's network settles transactions in under 3 seconds for a fraction of a penny. And the proof is in the numbers. Hedera is uniquely governed by a council of the world's leading institutions, ensuring transparency, trust, and decentralization. It's no wonder Hedera is the leading choice for enterprise and DeFi use cases. Everything from real-world asset tokenization to AI data integrity. Discover the only decentralized network with the governance, scalability, and security to power the new digital economy. What future will you build?